Welcome to More Than Mindset, the only podcast that bridges the gap between spirituality and success. Go beyond the mind with clarity and confidence coach Kim Guillory and learn how to integrate your passion to serve with your skills and experience to create a business you love. Let's get started.
You ever heard that you are the creator? Like you are the cause, like you are the reason why you are experiencing life as it is right now. Have you heard that before? I'm sure you have. I have talked to so many clients, friends that disagree. And today I'm going to just talk a little bit more around why I believe that that is true and how it can help you create more opportunities that you do want in your life, in your business, in your relationships. When we are not at cause, we are at effect. That means that things are happening around us and to us. That ain't fun. We don't want to be just hanging around waiting for things to happen to us if we have the ability to create opportunities and to be at the cause of. Like, really think about this one. Wouldn't you rather know that you caused it? Because then you can change it, then you could be in control, then you can have something different. But whenever we believe we are at the effect of, like, just the way life is, it's just how it happens. If God wanted it to be different, it would be different. You've heard these things, right? When I was physically sick for over 20 years, 24 years, over a dozen diagnoses, multiple prescriptions, over a dozen surgeries. Like I was at the effect. I was like, my body is broken. There's something wrong with me. God is punishing me. Or I really didn't know at the time. I just thought I had a broken body. And I've heard this from many of you: broken relationship, broken body, broken bank accounts. And you somehow or somewhat believe that that's just how life is, or that's just how your life is. Well, what sent me into questioning was noticing how other people didn't have to pay these same consequences that I did. And I got really curious. I dove into bodies of work. I became willing to believe something else. I'll never forget the day I was at the massage therapist. And we were just, I think we were about to begin an appointment. And I was saying how I was hurting. And I was like, you know how it is. I learned through pain. And I really, really, really believe this. There was a part of me that believed when I suffer, I seek God. Like it's more pleasing to God because it humbles me, knocks me to my knees, I used to say. It knocks me to my knees, and then I can seek God to save me. I don't know where I was taught this stuff. I don't know where I got it from, but I believed it. And until that moment, I always had a diagnosis, always had some sort of issue or condition, something that was physically going on in my body. I thought it was just the cord that I drew. It's just the straw that I picked. It was just the life that I was going to have to live. And I remember being told, like, do you want to go and grab someone else's burden, or do you want to just carry yours? As if carrying the burden of having a broken body and a broken life and broken relationships was an honor to God, was an honor to make my way to heaven. And today I see it completely different. I did not understand what a martyr and a victim I was being to the life that I thought I was handed, because I actually did not believe that I could create what I wanted. I believe differently today, and I have a different experience. And I want to invite you to just get curious, to question, to wonder why some people don't have to go through the same suffering. Just wonder, just for a minute. There was such a big part of my life that I thought the suffering was to prove my love to God. It was to prove my way. It was to prove my commitment, my loyalty. And that's exactly what I got. I was always overcoming issues. Now, I see the same thing in the healing world. These healers and practitioners that are suffering for someone else to be better. But I know without a shadow of a doubt, I can't be poor enough to help someone, and I can't be sick enough to help someone. But I can be healthy and wealthy and help lots of people. Matter of fact, the healthier I am and the wealthier I am, the more I can help people. Now, I get a lot of shit for this. I'm not going to lie. Here's the thing. When people are obligated or committed to the belief about suffering, they're going to hate on you if you tell them something different. They're going to resist believing something different because they have this loyalty to this cause, wherever this information came from, or I should say, this misinformation. It was incorrect data and misinformation. But I spent most of my life up until that point believing it. And I didn't want to let go of it because I believed it was a disservice. Gosh, this was so hard. It's hard for me even to say today because I do catch hell when I talk about you can have it all. You can have a healthy life, body, relationships, bank account. You can, but not if you're committed to suffering and you believe you're better or your life is going to end better or heaven's going to be closer if you suffer. Guys, just question it for a moment and tell me if there were a possibility, even a teeny tiny possibility, that it's not true, that it could be different, that you actually don't have to suffer and that you can have all that you want. Would you be willing to let go of the idea that the suffering is making you a holier person, that the sacrifice is guaranteeing you this great, glorious afterlife that you can't have here on planet Earth? Are you willing to question, to explore, to experience? And if not, it's okay. It's okay. No one could have changed my mind. I was devoted to that belief, and I don't want to take that away from anyone who has that true belief. But for those who are wondering, who are curious, and who are sick of suffering, this is for you. It doesn't have to be that way, but you will suffer through discomfort as you move into a better life, as you move into a easier life, as you release the suffering, the poverty, the scarcity, as you let go of that guilt and shame and concern, all of the things of leaving other people behind, going against the grain, you are going to suffer as you release that. I promise you, it's very uncomfortable. There's a lot of grieving that has to take place. But for those of you who are sick of it, see, I had put my 40 years in. And when I started hearing and learning and understanding that it didn't have to be that way, it didn't happen overnight, by the way. I started backing off. I started letting the guard down. I started exploring and I got really curious. And I'm not going to lie, I was afraid. I was afraid I was going to go to hell. I was afraid I was displeasing God. I was going against the church. There were lots of things that were coming up. I know I'm talking a lot about religion today, but I do believe it is where the poverty and the brokenness and the physical stuff is coming from, that there's some sort of holier than thou for being able to carry that burden. There is a part of you that does not want to let it go, and that's why it continues to show up, to repeat itself. I'll just never forget that day. Like, I was already doing this work. I started doing private retreats and breaking away from this at 29 years old. I had had so many surgeries. I was on so much medication and diagnosis. I was just sick of it. And I was trying to get out of that trap, but I just couldn't fully let it go. And this was like 10, 12 years later when I was down. You guys probably heard from the previous podcast, just for 16 weeks on my belly with this sciatica situation. I had done the MRI, I had the appointment with the surgeon. I was just so sick of suffering by this point. And when those words came out of my mouth, I learned through pain. And my massage therapist caught it and reminded me and allowed me to question it. She said, "Did you hear what you just said?" We don't even notice it. We're just saying things, often because of the discomfort of being quiet. And we don't even realize, but what you think, you will eventually say. What you say, you will eventually feel, and then you will act, and then you will become. You will have it. That is the process. And so, if that is true, then think about the way you can turn it around, and what you think and what you say and what you do will create something different. Because if it's true here, it's true here. It goes both ways. Man will not change the laws and principles of life. We either learn how to play the game and let go of the guilt and the shame and the doubts and the whatever we want to call it. For me, it was truly believing that I was a better person because of the suffering. It was truly believing that God was going to I would have a better relationship with Christ or God or whatever, however I saw it, that suffering was a great thing and the ability to suffer was a great thing. And so there were distorted opinions that I never even thought to question. A matter of fact, I thought it was just truth. I thought it was just what I had read in the Bible, what I had understood. And you probably couldn't have pried it away from me. I had to get to the point to where the suffering of staying the same was greater than the suffering of creating the change. I lost a lot of people that I thought were friends that I loved and respected and had great relationship with. It's kind of like when you talk about money or freedom, you are going to lose relationships, but you will gain your life. You will gain control. You will gain the ability to create new opportunities. And I'm not going to say it's not uncomfortable, that I don't still have grief or sadness, or sometimes I feel disheartened because that experience is not what I thought it was going to turn out to be. I'm loyal and committed to the cause, and I was doing what was of service, but some people will not be able to let go of the demons that taunt them, the disbelief, the generational cycles and patterns that are so familiar that they've not felt anything else. And you know what? It is not my job to pry that out of their hands, and it is not your job either. And so if you're spending a lot of your time convincing and over giving, overdoing. It's like I think of this. I've taken clients, I could say I've raised from the crib, like really tried to get them to see it, to get them to understand, to come along. And I realize now that's not a good idea. Everyone has their own journey and their own timing. It's like the gestational period of a carrot might be 8 weeks, but just because you plant them all at the same time, depending on where they're planted at, the carrots are going to be different sizes. Some are going to be overgrown or fully grown. Some are going to be little babies. Some are not going to grow at all. Some are going to die and wilt away just the way they were planted. So that is something that I've been able to let go of, that I feel free of now. And just so you know, though, I turned 56 like very soon. And so it took me a lot of years to actually get it and to mind my own business and not need to be the savior or the fixer or the helper or the healer or the like any of that stuff. Even though I see things does not mean that anybody wants to see it themselves. And I'm not saying I know it all. I will never say I know it all. I quit knowing that I was right many, many years ago, probably 20 years ago. I got really curious about what else could I know? Could I let go of what I know to know something else? And that has created a lot of flexibility and ease in my life. So for this week, I'm just going to challenge you to inquire about your beliefs of suffering. What do you believe about suffering? What do you truly believe about suffering? Why are you unable to let go of the suffering? Why are you unable to have success easily? Why don't you believe you can have it all? Why is it possible for some people to have it all and not you? Like, just ask these things. Don't make any kind of drastic change or anything. Just are you willing to inquire so that you can self master, self regulate, so that you can be self reliant? I know even that scares a lot of people. I believe that I can control to the capacity and the degree that is possible, but I do not believe that I control everything in the universe. I do not believe that I am God. Do not come at me with that. But at the same time, I do believe that I can control and create, and I could be the cause of my experiences. I can be the cause of my experiences. I do not have to be at the effect of. And I just want to invite you to explore. Maybe that's something you don't even want because I didn't want it. I was scared of it because I didn't know how to choose. I didn't know how to decide what I wanted. No one had ever really asked me what I wanted. So it was an interesting perspective just to start to question it. But today, I do believe that we can have power and control of our life, that we can create opportunity, and that we can be well, wealthy, and healthy. We do not have to suffer and sacrifice, and we do not get a free ride to heaven because we had a miserable ride on earth. Got that out of my mind, and everything is better. All right. Have an amazing week because you are an amazing being.
Thanks for listening to this episode of More Than Mindset.